The Tampa Bay Buccaneers lose. They fall to a 4-7 record. And oh buddy, this is a tough loss. 27-20 is your final score. Bucs have officially lost. Let's talk about it for a minute, right? This was a game of just missed opportunities, right? Just missed opportunities. It just wasn't enough big plays, if that makes sense, right? Baker Mayfield, 20 of 30, 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, sacked 6 times. I'm going to be honest, Baker held onto the ball a little bit too long for probably like 3 or 4 of those sacks. The last one being a sack fumble that cost him the game. I'm going to say that there was probably 3 sacks where Baker held onto the ball for too long, maybe more. That's not good. That's not good. Yes, Baker did have 2 touchdowns. Yes, he did have a gritty run. But all in all, it wasn't the best game from Baker, in my opinion. There was some stuff where it was a situation like, okay, that's just kind of a tough situation, right? But there was also a lot of things where it's like, oh man, the efficiency, right? Like you like 20 for 30, you like 2 touchdowns, but 199 yards, 6 sacks, and a lot of that being from holding on to the ball a bit too long. That's gotta get better. That's not good for the offense. Point blank, simple as that. This was obviously the stats look okay, right? This was one of the more rougher Baker Mayfield performances, in my opinion, in terms of him holding onto the football for too long. He still did some good things, but that's the biggest thing for me is holding onto the football for too long. Rachaad White had a great game. 100 yards rushing. I think that's the first time we've seen a 100-yard rusher for the Bucs in the past couple of years. So shout out to Rachaad White for that. You also had Chase Edmonds get an 11-yard run. Baker Mayfield had 14 yards. Again, gritty run from Baker, which was cool. But it's the 6 sacks, holding on to the football too long is what bothers me. Mike Evans, 9 targets, 6 catches, 70 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chris Godwin, 7 targets, 3 catches, 45 yards. Cade Otton, 4 catches, 45 yards. Trey Palmer had a pretty ugly drop in this game, which was notable for sure. But aside from that, the skill position players didn't make too many mistakes that I saw in this game today. Besides that one pretty bad drop. Baker had 2 fumbles, lost 1. Rachaad White recovered 1. I don't remember when the second fumble happened. I remember obviously the one that happened at the end of the game here with 1.5 minutes left. You're driving down the field, trying to tie up the game. Baker gets hit from behind, fumbles. That one, I don't know. I mean, maybe Baker held onto the ball too long. Maybe my thoughts and opinions will change on that after this. I don't know. Defensively, Kalijah Kancey had a sack. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka had a sack. Kalijah Kancey had a pretty good day. 2 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection, 1 quarterback hit. Bucs defense today finished with 2 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, 7 passes defended, and 3 quarterback hits. Carlton Davis even had an interception. Chase McLaughlin made both of his field goals. Jake Camarda had 4 punts, 2 for a touchback, 1 inside the 20. Defensively, Gardner Minshew did not play a great game. 24 of 41, 251 yards, 1 pick. The run defense was not good today. 5.7 yards carry, 3 touchdowns. The Colts just kind of grinded out the run defense today. Part of that is because Levante David wasn't there. That was huge. Devin White did not play a very good game today. I will say that. Pittman Jr. still went over 100 yards today. Aside from that, it was pretty meh from the rest of the Colts receiving game. Samson Ebukam had 2 sacks. Kwity Paye had a sack. Isaiah Land had a sack. Tyquan Lewis had a sack. Dayo Odiningbo and Adatamiwa Adebawore both had a half sack each. Ronnie Harrison had a pick. That was a bad pick from Baker. It just went straight to him. This is a game for me. The Bucs scored 7. Sorry, the Colts scored 7 off the Baker interception. this to me was a game where I'm gonna say the defense didn't make enough splash plays, especially in the run game. But I'm also gonna say this is a game where Baker didn't do enough to win. Stats look good. 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 199 yards, but this is going to be a game where, you know, you finally get a 100-yard rusher, right? You get 2 touchdowns out of Mike Evans. Just holding onto the football a little bit too long was part of it for me. I believe that. And then I also think that the defense, the run defense today didn't do enough. Those were 2 really big things in this game. Those were 2 things that I think were a really big thing in this game. You know? So right now as it stands, the Bucs are 4-7. And yes, I will say this. The Falcons won, which is huge. By some miracle, the Bucs are still only 1 game back in the division. Okay? From the Falcons. You got to win your next 2 games now. Point blank simple as that. You got to win your next 2 games against the Panthers and the Falcons. You have to win. If you don't, if you lose your next game, season's over. Sorry. Like, season's over. Not a good look at 4-7, my man. Not a good look. This was a very winnable game. This was a very winnable game that just didn't get it done. Can they rebound? Yeah, they can absolutely rebound. I'm going to say that. Baker did some good things, but there was definitely some noticeable bad things. I think the bad outweighed the good in this game for Baker. Rachaad White did some really good things. Mike Evans had 2 touchdowns. Losing 7 of their last 8's not good either. I agree. And now we got to see some guys return healthy, like Levante David, like Jamel Dean. That's what we've got to see moving forward. That's what we've got to see moving forward. So we'll see, guys. Tough loss. Tough loss. Bucs fall to 4-7. Still 1 game back from the division, but going into next week, your season's in jeopardy. Your season is in absolute jeopardy. So we'll see, folks. We'll see. Offensive line also was rough in this game. Really rough in this game also. I should point that out. Part of it was Baker holding on to the ball for too long as well. Part of it was the offensive line being a little bit leaky. But Baker was holding on to the ball too long, in my opinion. So, also, guys just couldn't get open in situations. Look, it was just, the offense didn't do enough. Point blank, simple as that. But, folks, yeah, another tough loss, and we'll kind of see what happens next for the Bucs. And there you go.